the truth about the PowKiddy X55 situation. What exactly is going on here, what happened, and what can we expect from the X55 going forward? Those are all questions that I'm going to answer in this video. I want to say a big thank you to PowKiddy, who reached out to me directly to clarify the situation and what was going on with these X55 review units. So let's address the elephant in the room. The dim screen, poor software versions of the X55 that reviewers such as myself and a handful of others received are not the final version of the PowKiddy X55. So in my previous video I asked, how was that even possible? How did a reseller like MechDIY get these handhelds and send them out to reviewers if they're not ready? Well, it seems like a bit of a complicated situation. MechDIY had previously told myself that there were two sections inside the company, one of which was working on the device, and another side who sent out the device early to make more sales. I haven't mentioned this before because it just seemed so unbelievable to me. However, it also matches up with what PowKiddy told me, and with what Discord user JDoIt said as well. And that user seems to have a pretty close line with PowKiddy. So PowKiddy told me that these early versions of the X55 were put out by one of their salesmen privately, and it was exposed because it was an immature product. So what that means is that somebody within PowKiddy, a salesman, did indeed send these products out early to MechDIY. However, I think it's really important to say that I think MechDIY has acted on good faith here. They've received a product from the manufacturer, they've sent the product out for reviews, they didn't have any information about embargoes or anything like that. So it's not their fault, I don't think. Also, JDoIt indicated that somebody in PowKiddy had been fired because of this situation, and I'm assuming that that is said salesman. So just to summarize here, what happened, it seems like, is that the X55 is being worked on by PowKiddy. Somebody took a bunch of units which were too early to go out, sent them over to MechDIY, who on good faith then sent them out to reviewers to get some press. And then I put out my video, and then others put out their videos, and this whole thing just kind of snowballed. To be honest, from the first moment I turned the X55 on, something just didn't seem quite right to me. That dimness of the screen didn't seem like it was something that would be accepted in QA even for PowKiddy, especially when you look at it next to the RK 2023. And the software as well was just kind of rough around the edges. Nothing like the great Jealous system on the RK 2023. Now, one important note that PowKiddy told me is that the unofficially exposed X55 products are not suitable for software repair because the hardware drivers are different. And what that means is that the final version is probably going to have a completely different screen than the one that's included in the review unit that I received. That is a bit of a shame, honestly. I think it's kind of sad that this won't be fixable with a firmware update or anything, but now that I know that it was a pre-release version that was never supposed to go out, I understand that, and that's fine. Actually, it's kind of a cool collector's item too, so hey, whatever. PowKiddy also told me that they're now working with the community to develop the Jealous operating system for the X55, which again makes perfect sense because that's what the RK 2023 had. And it was pretty darn good there, so I'm excited to see that on the X55. They tell me that it's still being optimized, but that they currently have prototypes for Jealous, ArcOS, and UOS as well, and that the X55 will support various operating systems at release, which is really cool, and kind of what I would expect from the Rockchip 3566 processor anyway. So to be honest, that pretty much sums up this situation in a nutshell. Somebody from within PowKiddy sent out a bunch of pre-release X55 versions that were never supposed to go out. MechDIY received them, sent them out to reviewers as you would, and then all of this kind of came to light, which I think is just a really unfortunate situation for everybody involved, to be honest. I think the X55 being kind of exposed early like it was is definitely not going to help sales or anything. I think that MechDIY kind of now have a big issue on their hands. I don't know what they're going to do if they have a stack of these pre-release versions, but they definitely shouldn't sell them. It sucks for reviewers who received a product and reviewed it and put videos up which are now kind of contextually incorrect, at least in my case. And of course it sucks for the end consumer because now you don't really know what's going on with it. But hopefully this video clarifies. So one last thing to mention here is that PowKiddy tells me that the screen is now very bright but it's still being optimized, but the X55 units with the improved screen have now been sent out to developers directly. Discord user JDoIt received theirs yesterday and have indicated that the screen is bright, so I think that issue is going to be resolved for the release version, which is great news. So that pretty much sums up this video. Again, I want to say a huge thank you to PowKiddy. This cannot be an easy situation to deal with. Honestly, it's kind of put the brakes on one of their products before it was ever ready to be seen by anyone, so I'm really glad that they reached out to me directly to clarify the situation. They have also offered to send me some of the other operating system versions for me to test out on my X55, so when I receive some of those, I'll give them a test and I'll let you know what I think. In addition, they seem really open to receiving other types of feedback too. For example, the weird positioning of the volume buttons and the far too clicky L2 and R2 are all things that I've told them that I hope that maybe they might be able to work on before the final release. I think that in all of this, it's really important to note that the X55 isn't even up for pre-order on PowKiddy's website or AliExpress, whereas other upcoming devices like the X28 is up for pre-order. So it's pretty obvious to me that the X55 just was nowhere near ready to go. So anything you've seen around about this date, 24th of April 2023, of the X55 so far, is more than likely a pre-release version, not the final one. That's about it for this one. Let me know what you think about this whole situation in the comment box below. Subscribe to my channel if you like this content and you want to hear more X55 updates, but maybe, I don't know, in a month or two, not 3 more in a row, that's for sure. Anyway, this has been Shem from Retro Breeze, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon.